Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing this week?
Yo, I'm doing good.
Matt, that's great. It was Canadian Thanksgiving here for us, and Matt, I made a lot of mistakes this weekend. I don't know about you, but I feel like Canadian Thanksgiving for me and Christmas, I just throw all restraint out the window and go ham on the most sweets in that Alba. Most sweets. I think this is also the season where Costco gets those pumpkin pies, and that I went ham on some Costco pumpkin pies.
Oh, damn.
And I think after the long weekend, I don't feel the greatest right now. But we're here to discuss, as I said before, the mistakes of the week. And Matt, I've been playing, well, you know me, Matt, I love me some rhythm mobile games. And since we remember when we tried to reboot Saturday Morning Arcade, and we had that one episode dedicated to mobile games. And thinking back, I went back to that episode a while ago, and it was kind of jarring to notice that all the games that I mentioned during that episode, I don't really play today anymore.
Damn.
But I still play a lot of rhythm games, Matt, and one of those rhythm games is Project Sekai, or also known as Hatsune Miku Colorful Stage for the worldwide release. It's essentially, Matt, think of Bang Dream, but replace all-girl bands with, for the most part, all-girl units, except for a few others who do have some male band members. And they're able to go into the Sekai world and interact with all the Vocaloids, or, all the notable Vocaloids associated with Hatsune Miku.
So is this an isekai journey?
It's sort of like an isekai where you can go back and forth.
Oh, okay.
And, for the story stuff, I don't really read, but Matt, every few events, they do something called a cheer stage, which is essentially Splatfest. So Matt, I'm just going to end up calling it Splatfest, but for the cheer stage, this event, the question is, when buying merch, which would you go for? A button pin or an acrylic keychain? Matt, if you were playing Project Sekai, which team would you join for this cheer stage?
I think that I would be in the button pin category.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Jaren, I don't know about you, but I don't like having a lot of stuff on my keychains.
No, I totally know what you mean.
So I think by default, I have to be button pins, yeah.
I think in general, I too, lean towards the button pin. But at the same time, I feel that I only use one novelty keychain at a time. And I typically, for me personally, I think while I would personally enjoy a button pin, I think as a souvenir giver, I usually gravitate towards the acrylic keychain, similar to merch. I'm pretty sure when I last went to Japan years ago, I think all the goodies I brought back for friends were of the acrylic keychain variety. And Matt, before we kind of move on, I just need to say this about Project Sekai. I actually hate every time it's essentially a cheer festival, mostly because, Matt, in a standard rhythm game, when you do a multi-room, it's you join with 4 other people, you get into, someone selects a song, you go play the round. In the cheer show, since it's a team event, not only do you have to group with 4 other people, but then you have to find a rival team of 5 to play against. A song is chosen at random and everyone has to ready up, and then you have to hope all 10 people load in. I actually hate the cheer stages, the cheer festivals, these team events, mostly because I always find when you're trying to group up with an additional 5 more players, the margin of error increases. And I feel like for most of the time, I'm either hitting disconnects, people just leaving. And it doesn't help that, at least for me, I chose acrylic keychain. And I'm pretty sure it at one point it asked you, hey, the button team needs some help, so can you please join the pin team?
Damn.
And it's one of those things where sometimes I'll be waiting to queue up against a pin team, and then it will just time me out. So I think with the cheer shows previously, this has been one of the more rough ones, but I only have one mutual friend that also plays Project Sekai, and every time one of these events roll around, we just talk to each other about how miserable an experience it is. But other than that, I'm actually pretty stoked just because during this event, essentially, it also celebrates the annual anniversary for the Japanese version of the game. And normally for worldwide, this was supposed to happen December for us. And I was actually saving a lot of my premium currency for the anniversary Miku unit, but I was saving up since I thought she would come in December. Matt, you should have seen my face last week when this event started up. I looked at the gacha and then I saw the anniversary Miku I wanted so much. Was able to roll her within 40 rolls as well. So Matt, bad event aside, I'm a happy camper because I got the Miku. But then at the same time, it's one of those instances where, oh wow, I was waiting since essentially this game launched last December. And then you know me, Matt. I looked through all the gacha that happened in the Japanese version just to kind of plan out my roles. I feel like as a worldwide player, you have to, especially if you lean towards free to play. And I thought I was going to have to wait another 3 months for that Miku, Matt, but I was a happy camper.
Yeah, Jaren, Christmas came early.
Christmas did come early. But Matt, speaking about joining teams, there was the next Splatoon 3 Splatfest was announced. And Matt, the headline reads, Splatoon X Pokemon, get ready for a special Splatfest collaboration in November. When choosing your partner Pokemon, which type would you choose? Grass type, fire type, or water type? The Splatfest will take place Friday, November 11th at 4 p.m. to Sunday, November 13th at 4 p.m. Matt, new Splatfest is announced. I know we still have a month to prepare, but which team are you leaning towards?
I think that I'm leaning towards Team Fire. How about you?
Okay. Honestly, I think I am leaning towards Team Fire. Matt,
nice.
In your Pokemon history, do you actually have a preferred type, or do you normally just go through based on looks and aesthetic?
I usually pick through looks and aesthetic, but I think that makes it so that I always choose Fire. Because I think every single Pokemon game, I think I've always picked the Fire starter, except for like 2 games. The one where Survivor came out, or not Survivor, Superior was in,
right?
And the one with Froakie or Greninja, which I think might have been the same game.
I think for me personally, I typically do go through aesthetics, which also ends up being Fire most of the time. It's actually pretty weird just because when Pokemon first launched here and I got my copy, which was Pokemon Red, I typically growing up, my favorite animal was the turtle, and I just love turtles, Matt. So you would think that I would be a Squirtle boy, but for some reason I really gravitated towards Charmander, mostly because I had Pokemon Red, and you have to represent the box you have, Matt. But I'm pretty sure I told this story before on a previous episode of Saturday Morning Arcade. But when I remember that day that my mom bought me and my siblings Pokemon Red, and we went to the EB Games at the mall, and she was asking, oh, which version do you want? And then we were looking at Pokemon Blue and Pokemon Red. And for some reason, I told my siblings, hey, we should get Pokemon Red because we have a red Game Boy Color. And I think since the colors match, you'll see color, a red Game Boy Pocket. And since even though we don't have a Game Boy Color, if we get matching colors, we'll probably see something. That's how my stupid little, I don't know what grade we were in, 4th grade brain worked at the time. And that's the reason why I am a Fire boy when it comes to Pokemon.
That's some quality kid logic.
Matt, kid logic is the best. Do you have an embarrassing, not necessarily embarrassing, or even something you're proud of, but do you have some sort of kid logic from your past that sticks out to you till this day?
Man, I don't. I think it's just because I'm really influenced because we're talking about Pokemon right now. But Jaren, I spent a lot of time. You know you know how they said there's a Mew underneath the truck?
Yes.
I spent a lot of time trying to get that Mew, like a disgusting amount of time before I realized it wasn't true.
But there's still a truck though, right?
There is a truck, but it has nothing to do with Mew. And I don't know why. Like looking back on it now, I don't know why I would have thought that, hey, there's a Mew underneath here for some reason.
That was the Pokemon rumor, man.
Oh, Jaren, hang on. I have a question for you for Pokemon.
Okay.
Because I just remember another one. Jaren, when you're catching a Pokemon, what do you hold down?
Matt, when I'm playing Pokemon, I don't care what version. This has stuck with me ever since Pokemon Red. When I choose item Pokeball, the Pokeball gets thrown.
Mm-hmm.
When the Pokeball hits the Pokemon and like explode, you know what I mean when I say it explodes, I hold B down.
Oh, okay. I wait for the ball to jiggle twice, and then I hold down A because I think I was very influenced by Mario Kart.
That's actually grounded in actual gaming experience, and I could see that working mechanically. I don't know why B stuck out to me to hold it down when a Pokeball exploded, but I don't know what it is about Pokemon in general. Maybe it was because when we were growing up, especially when the Pokemon games were coming into mainstream popularity, at least for me and my classmates at the time, I don't think the internet was really accessible. So a lot of playground rumors got taken as fact. I remember this was slightly after the initial Pokemon boom, but when the original Pokemon Snap came out for the Nintendo 64, I remember that I was told that you could get Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee to spawn somewhere if you did, X, Y, and Z. And Matt, I spent hours trying to do X, Y, and Z, only to realize, oh, this isn't true. But to kid Jaren many, many moons ago, that's all. I mean, it could have been true. And I think that hope really made me appreciate, I think, gaming in general, since anything could be, as long as it did seem believable to a degree, anything could be possible. And I think that's what I'm personally kind of missing with my gaming experiences these days, just because I think with me, a lot of it is tainted by, oh, what does the wiki say? What's people on Reddit saying? Where you don't really have those rumors. Well, at least I'm not engaging in the community that those types of rumors actually appeal to, but that's kind of just me right now, Matt. Any gaming rumors of late that come to mind that you actually tried to look into?
No, Jaren, I think like you, I'm just I'm too into just looking into like wikis or fact checking it before I use my time to try these like rumors.
Matt, we're old now. Time is the currency. But speaking about currency, Matt, will you be opening up your wallet for the cinematic event next year in the Super Mario Brothers movie? Matt, did you watch the teaser released this week?
Yes, I watched the teaser.
Matt, I know everyone's been kind of poo-pooing the choice of having Chris Pratt voice Mario, but before we get to his voice reveal, what did you actually think of the teaser overall?
I liked the teaser. I thought it was a very good look into, I think for me, mostly the animation quality that's going to go into the movie, because I was very worried that it was going to be, I don't know, not great, because I don't know if you kind of have this image in your head, but I have this image of passable anime quality movie animation.
Right.
And I was really hoping that it wouldn't be that for Mario.
Right.
So I'm really glad that I think the animation quality for this movie looks very, very good. And I'm really hoping that that wasn't just a let's pump up the graphics for the teaser type thing.
Yeah, that would be the hope, that the actual film quality does resemble the teaser, just because I was honestly really impressed with what I saw when this did debut earlier this week. And honestly, I think I told you, slightly after I watched it go live that it kind of felt like a fever dream to me, where for some reason this seemed like I know the cliche is it's like you're playing a video game or you're watching you know what I mean, right? I guess I think for the analogy was always it's like you're playing a movie, but at this time, seeing the teaser itself, it was this weird fever dream of, oh, is this what a Mario game would look like if Nintendo produced it for a notably more powerful platform or console? And just visually, I was really into it. And we did get a taste of Jack Black as Bowser and Matt. I know everyone is saying what they will about Chris Pratt's, what was heard about Chris Pratt, but I think of everyone cast for this movie, I think I had the highest hopes for Jack Black just because he's such a character actor. And from what we did here in the teaser, I think he really nails the Bowser role. But I guess that's Jack Black for you. What did you think about his Bowser, essentially?
I liked it. I think if I didn't know it was Jack Black, I wouldn't have known it was Jack Black.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. I think you can hear the Jack Black, but maybe that's because I went into it totally knowing that was him. But Matt, the scene plays out. I like the references to all the penguins, since that screamed Mario 64 for me. I don't know if that was the first half of the teaser. Second half of the teaser, we do get introduced to Mario and Toad as well. But Matt, I know this leaked kind of prior to the trailer going live, but what do you actually think of how Mario looks for this movie?
I think it looks fine to me. Something about it looks off to me, but
yes,
like I'm not going to worry about that because it's not like it's bad. It's just like slightly different, which I'm okay with.
Okay, when I saw I believe it was like some sort of, I forget who leaked it in general, but
it was like a McDonald's ad or something, right?
Right, some Asian McDonald's or something. And I remember looking at the Mario and thinking, okay, that's Mario, but it's Mario that's slightly off, where I saw some comparisons of, oh, this looks like a Mario you would see as a theme park mascot. And I think it's within that realm where it's not the Mario that I'm used to, but it's a Mario. And I think for the most part, it's not really anything offensive to me as a Nintendo fan growing up. But at the same time, it's one of those things where I'll take a double look and think, okay, something's slightly off. But Matt, what did you think of what we heard? Even though it wasn't really that much, what did you think of the initial Chris Pratt as Mario?
I think I agree with the internet when I say that it's Chris Pratt playing Chris Pratt. It's Mario.
Yeah. I know I had to rewind it a few times just to kind of see if he was doing some sort of other voice. But maybe it's just me, again, with the mindset of this is Chris Pratt. But yeah, that was Chris Pratt. That was Star-Lord. That was whatever other role he has had recently. But yeah, I understand why you need the star power. But at the same time, I was kind of hoping for something different, but then again, we've only heard like 2 sentences from him. This was essentially what people were suspecting, and we're here. I do want to hear a bit more as well.
Yeah. One thing that actually surprised me about the trailer, though.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking about, I guess, like just voices, is that I thought Toad's voice I wouldn't have recognized as Keegan-Michael Key if I didn't know it was him.
Yes. I actually liked his Toad, where to me, I know Toad is usually a bit more higher pitched from what I'm used to in different Mario games. But yeah, just to see I think his voice works well for Toad, and it's a good take on him, where I am still out to see how Chris Pratt actually performs as Mario throughout the film, but at the same time, I am excited just to see how Jack Black continues to voice Bowser as well as everyone else. I'm excited. I'll probably end up seeing this in theaters. Matt will probably end up doing a post Mario episode of The Mistake Zone. But yeah, I'm actually not super excited, but I will most likely go to the theaters to see. Matt, if this is available in 4DX, are we going to Mario 4DX?
Oh man, I want to for the meme, but I also feel like there won't be much like good 4DX usage in it. But unless 4DX doesn't have heat, does it?
No, it doesn't have heat.
Okay, yeah, I don't think there's gonna be much good 4DX. I'll watch it in 4DX if you want to go watch it in 4DX though. I'm down to clown.
Okay, Matt. Well, when Mario comes out, we need to see it in 4DX, but at the same time, we need to find a way, maybe if we have a 2-for-1 coupon or something, just to bring that price point down. But okay, Matt. Well, we have to at least continue to record the Mistake Zone until after the Mario movie and after we see it in 4DX. And that is a Mistake Zone promise.
When does this movie come out?
I don't know. I'm not actually equipped to talk about this properly on a podcast. Speaking about leaks preceding trailers, there was another trailer that I was actually really curious to see that did have a release last week as well. And that is for the new Need for Speed game, Need for Speed Unbound. Just to kind of go through our tried and true summaries, it's the new Need for Speed game from EA and Criterion Games coming on December 2nd, 2022. The quick synopsis is, the world is your canvas in Need for Speed Unbound. An all-new signature art style blends elements of the freshest street art with the most realistic-looking cars in Need for Speed history. Get behind the wheel of these iconic rides in a single-player campaign that will challenge you to beat the competition, earn that cash, and make your mark on the street racing scene. Matt, this game has been in the rumor mill for a long time. I don't know if you've been following the Need for Speed games, but for a long time now, if you were to converse with anyone from the Need for Speed community, the Need for Speed games have been more so along the misses end of things, where they've been competent enough, but Need for Speed used to be this at least arcade racing juggernaut that really defined the genre. And yet, for the longest time, I felt that with the Need for Speed games, after, let's say, Underground 2, Most Wanted, that era back in like 2004, I honestly do feel like the series itself has had this kind of identity crisis where it's been trying to do a lot of different things to really reestablish itself as essentially the king of the arcade racer. And for the most part, it really hasn't. And, you know, you see all these rumors about, EA is going to try this, they're switching developers. And for Need for Speed Unbound, this has been, you know, a topic of leaks for the longest time, just because it is a series that has gone on and off. You have all these talks of EA trying to figure out what to do to essentially revitalize it. And the word on the street for Need for Speed Unbound before it was officially released was this was going to be a Need for Speed game that was heavily inspired by anime. Some of the early leaks really did talk about the art style where you would have realistic cars, but there would be cartoony effects, whether it be you drifting or hitting a ramp, and then stylized wings would kind of appear near your car. And everyone was a bit skeptical, and then we finally got our first look at it with Need for Speed Unbound. The debut trailer does give a look at that art style and features A$AP Rocky as the narrator, and I'm not sure if he plays a unique character or he plays himself in the game, but we did get our first look. And I think what threw me off the most was when this game was rumored, it was anime Need for Speed. But when you kind of look at the Unbound trailer, it isn't necessarily inspired by anime, but more so, graffiti and street art. So it is trying to get this more, hip hop aesthetic compared to a tradition, like what you would think of anime, when you hear anime Need for Speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did get a look at kind of the driving effects that do accompany your car during races. I do like how for the character models themselves, they have gone with a more cell-shaded approach compared to the, pseudo-realistic uncanny valley likeness of all the different characters, since I think Need for Speed 2015 was the last one that did kind of the FMVs. Since then, it has been more so, these 3D characters. But yeah, Matt, after looking at the Unbound trailer, I'm actually really curious to see how this turned out. I know a lot of people were skeptical when they heard about the anime effects, but I honestly think that it really does give it a unique look. And I'm not sure if this will be enough to kind of rejuvenate what the Need for Speed franchise has become, but it definitely looks interesting and is really something so unique that I do want to get my hands on this in some form. Hopefully it comes to Game Pass, but I'm not sure. But yeah, Matt, when you saw the Unbound trailer, what were your thoughts about the art style?
Yeah, I like the art style. Like I never I guess looked as deep into it as you did, because I wasn't sure when I was watching the trailer if all those kind of cell shaded smoke effects and whatnot were actually a part of the game, or if it was just like stylized for the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's nice to hear that like it's actually a part of the game, because I actually do like that aesthetic. I think the only thing that does weird me out is the wings. I think the
wings kind of look corny, man.
Yeah, I think those look kind of like corny or tacky or something. But the smoke effects, I for some reason am really, really into the smoke effects. That's like coming off the cars, especially since it's not just like gray smoke.
Yeah.
At least a lot of it in the trailer is like this kind of like stylized green, like toxic looking smoke.
Yeah.
Almost looks kind of like Valorant-y to me.
I'm actually really curious to see, just because the Need for Speed games have been known for the car customization, but that's mostly through, your rims, your body kits, your spoilers, and a lot of physical car modifications. But when you introduce an element of, okay, what are your smoke trails? What are your wings, essentially? The fact that you have all these different effects that you can, in theory, customize as well is making me really excited just to see how deep the customization goes, just because I love me customizing cars. But again, I'm only used to the body kits, the decals, my nitrous smoke. So to see all these different art pieces, I know it's EA, you think, oh, how are they going to monetize this now? But before we get to the pessimistic end of things, I really do think this looks unique. I think I agree. My gripe with the wings, they do look corny, but I feel like if I can maybe get a customized wing set that actually makes them more wide, just because the ones that they show in the trailer are kind of small and they look dinky. But I feel like if you can get them bigger, if you can get, I don't know, a more graffiti stylized one, I think that could be cool. But I am curious overall. I know this isn't a aesthetic for everyone if these can be turned off, but considering how EA has been in terms of accessibility with their games as of late, I'm actually hoping you can turn the effects off as well. But overall, I think this really made a really strong first impression for me, and I'm actually really excited to see where this goes in the future. I know the big hubbub on social media right now is Toyota. They've made a stance saying they don't want to really appear in street racing adjacent things. So there's no Toyota games in the game, Matt. So can't drive that Supra that we're used to. But it's looking really cool. And hopefully this is something we'll discuss a bit more in December.
Yeah, like I do hope that it comes to Game Pass, because I'm not personally too much a fan of like racing games.
Yeah.
So I think unless it hits Game Pass, I'm not gonna probably ever play like Need for Speed. It's gonna be mostly just a lot of a watching for me.
For sure. But I think this is definitely this screams, hey, look at this aesthetic. If it's on Game Pass, check it out. So
Jaren, if it goes on sale and like the customization isn't limited to kind of realish stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you can change the wings out for, I don't know, like the word like nice or something, or you can change your smoke trails to like anime girls like winking, I'm definitely gonna be in.
Matt,
Mm-hmm.
I hope this doesn't become one of those things where it's sort of like my relationship with Horizon, where, yeah, this was a cool attempt, but I can't wait for them to actually go to Japan. I can't wait for them to embrace the obnoxious anime style because, Matt, if you're telling me every time I hit a ramp and then I can see an anime sunset surround my car, amazing.
Oh man, that'd be so good. So
amazing. Good. Speaking about anime, you came through this week. I'm actually pretty excited because once again, we're kind of behind on our anime quota. Matt, you've been watching something which I'm actually kind of excited to hear about. So Matt, what did you bring? What did you bring to Anime Show and Tell?
I mean, Jaren, it's a good week for anime. Like the fall season started. I've been watching a bunch of stuff. I've been watching Blue Lock. I've been watching Bleach, but the anime that I want to bring in right now is the new Gundam anime, The Witch from Mercury, which is a very interesting change on Gundam, I think, because I think the big thing for me right now for Witch from Mercury, that's a very big change, is like, one, it's the first mainline Gundam series to focus on a female pilot, and two, I don't know if it's like real or not, or if the show is just like baiting, but it also seems like a Yuri anime, and I'm not 100% sure if it's actually that way or if they're just like I said, they're baiting or not.
Matt, I think you sold me on this Gundam anime. One, I didn't actually know it was a Gundam anime. When you said The Witch from Mercury, for some reason I was getting Little Witch Academia vibes, mostly because that's what I associate anime witches with. But when you told me it's a Gundam, I have to check this out now. I'm actually really curious about it. It's just one episode deep.
Right now, it is 2 episodes deep, plus a prologue.
Okay.
And it's a very, I think, good anime, or not good anime. I mean, it is a good anime, but I think it's a good Gundam to like come in on, because unlike most other Gundams, this is in a fresh timeline. So there's no prior story other than the prologue and the 2 episodes that are like a part of the real anime. And it's a pretty, like, I don't know, simple setting. Like, it's just following the main character, Soletta Mercury, who comes from a colony either on or near Mercury, and she's coming to school, where honestly, Jaren, they're just doing Gundam fights in the school. It's basically, imagine if Kakegurui was about Gundam duels instead of gambling. That's basically what's going on in the school. And like the prize that you get instead of money is the secondary main character, Miorin Rembrandt, and her father owns the school, and the prize for being the number 1 Gundam duelist in this school is her hand in marriage. So that's kind of why I think like this show is like possibly going towards a Yuri end, because Jared, she's very tsundere, and like the end of the first episode is like, okay, cool, like now we're gonna be like wife and wife, and in the start of the second episode she's like, okay, but not really.
Okay, but it's one of those anime.
But Jared, tsundere character, so maybe Jared, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually ended that way, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it didn't.
All these anime studios need to stop being cowards and they need to commit. Maybe it's because I'm a fan of certain anime and manga genres, but they gotta commit, Matt. But actually, I'm really curious. The more you talked about it, especially the whole, you don't really need prior Gundam knowledge, this is its own standalone, its own universe. I hope it really does continue down that kind of, well, I guess you can have serious anime in school settings. Would you say it's a really serious anime, Matt, or is it more lighthearted?
I think compared to other Gundams, it's more lighthearted because this isn't as war focused as like other Gundam shows, since this is just happening in a school.
Right.
It's just, I think, emotionally a lot more light.
Okay.
But there is like a whole bunch of, I don't know, kind of that, instead of it happening at a government level, it's happening at like a school company, like kind of political intrigue but businesses sort of thing.
All right. I really do want to check this out now, Matt. You're really selling me on a anime this season.
Yeah. Also, the animation pretty like good for like a Gundam series. I really like the Gundam style in this. It's a lot more soft and like rounded than most other animes. And Jaren, I'm really looking forward to the model kits when they come out, because I'm definitely gonna buy some for this main Gundam, because it's a very nice looking protagonist Gundam, I guess.
Okay, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt, you're saying the right words for me. So this is just Gundam, or what's the full title?
I think it's just like the Witch from Mercury. There's Gundam in there somewhere, but I actually don't know where it goes.
Okay, this is cool, Matt. I'm definitely gonna try to check this out.
And Jaren, as if like that wasn't enough to like maybe sell you on this anime series, Jaren, the opening is by Yoasobi, and it's a good opening.
Okay, Matt, you've somehow checked all the check marks of an anime that I want to check out. And okay, so how's the ED at least?
I don't know.
Okay,
Jaren, I watched the opening was the ED in the first episode, and then it became the real opening in the second episode, and I think I just forgot about the ED when I got to the end of the second episode, because, oh man, Jaren, the second episode is a setup episode, and I was so pissed that it was only a setup episode that I just closed it once it was done.
So you're telling me to start when episode 3 rolls around as well?
Yeah, start when episode 3 rolls around.
Okay, you know how I feel about cliffhangers, Matt.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So Matt, speaking about Gundams, you've actually been playing a game this week as well.
Yes.
Can you tell me about Gundam Evolution?
Jaren, do you like Overwatch?
Matt, I went back and listened to us in 2016, and apparently I really did like Overwatch.
Oh man, then Jaren, you might really like Gundam Evolution, because Gundam Evolution is just Overwatch with Gundams.
Okay, Matt. So, is this a free-to-play game?
Yes.
I was kind of mixed on the messaging there.
Yeah, this is a free-to-play game, and I don't know if I like that for a hero shooter.
Really?
Yeah. I think, okay, one of the things about Gundam Evolution that is different from Overwatch 2, which I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about later, is that Gundam Evolution does not have role queue in the same way that Overwatch has role queue.
Right.
Like, it's just an open queue and everybody plays whatever they want. I thought that I would be like, nice, like, I love open queue. I love this. I love, like, being able to, just play whatever. And then I realized that, Jared, if you're not quick on the draw, all the Gundams that you know how to play are going to get taken.
Right. So this is one of those scenarios where you can only have, let's say, one Gundam or one type of Gundam per team, correct?
Yes, yeah. That's kind of like the way this works. I think the roster right now is about, I think it's like 12 or 13 free Gundams, and then there's 5 unlockable Gundams, either through in-game currency or like just like real money.
Right.
And Jaren, that I gotta say, when I saw the Gundams that were locked, I was kind of bummed, because one of those is my favorite mobile suit.
Oh, really? Which mobile suit is it?
It's the Marasai, which is a kind of like, it's not even like a real Gundam. It's kind of like one of the grunt suits, but I've always really liked its design, and I'm kind of sad that it's locked behind a paywall.
Okay, Matt, tell me about the paywall. If you wanted to play your favorite Gundam, how much money are you dropping in theory? How much money are you dropping, or how much time are you grinding through?
I actually don't know how much it is individually. But I know that the bundle to get all 5 Gundams is about 45-ish US. So I'm guessing that's around like, I don't know, like just under $60 Canadian.
Okay.
And I don't want to pay that, Jared.
Right.
And I don't want to just pay for one Gundam, because if I'm going to pay, I might as well like get all of them, right?
Right, for sure. So on the topic of monetization, what are we talking about here, Matt? We're talking about characters, I'm assuming costumes, weapon skins, charms, things of that matter.
Yeah, it's almost exactly the same kind of stuff that you'd get in the loot boxes from Overwatch 1.
Right.
It has like poses, like win poses, your skins, your emotes, or like not dances necessarily, but like those kind of like things.
For sure.
And like the monetization, honestly, other than the mobile suits being locked, isn't that bad. I think the Gundams that you get to start with, or I know they're not all Gundams, but I guess like the mobile suits that you get to start with are all like very good. There's a lot of variance between all the mobile suits. Like you have enough like tanks if you want to play tanks. You have enough DPSs if you want to play DPSs. You have enough supports if you want to play supports. Like I think there's within the free suits you'll find something that fits your play style. Like there's already a couple that I like to go between, depending on what role I need to fill.
Okay, Matt.
Except for tank, I don't understand how to play tanks properly in Overwatch or in Gundam Evolution.
No, definitely. But Matt, in terms of DPS and support, which Gundams are you feeling, or which mobile suits are you feeling, and what are their playstyles like?
The DPS that I'm really liking is Dom. It's a kind of like fastish mobile suit. You have a not a rocket launcher, grenade launcher type thing. You're kind of always sliding, which is like kind of weird at first, but it feels good, and it's like character or mobile suit accurate, which I really like. Or if I want to kind of go in melee, I'll play Barbatos, which is just a very fastish mobile suit that can get like in and out into melee range really quickly, and you basically just dunk on people really hard. It has an instant kill, which is like a nice thing on it. Oh, actually, I should actually probably talk about the unique things in Gundam Evolution. One of the unique mechanics that I really like in Gundam Evolution, which really leans into the fact that you're piloting mobile suits, is the fact that when you run out of health, you don't die. You go into a down state, okay, and your allies can pull you back up, which I think is like a really nice change.
How's the revive timer? Are you like really out in the open?
You have like I think like 5 seconds to get to someone who's downed, and it takes like 3 seconds to pull them up. So it's not like a long time, but it's like I think enough time if they die in like an okay place.
For sure.
And there's Gun Tank, which is one of the ones that I also like to play with, which reduces the revive time down to like a second.
Okay, that's not bad.
So if you're playing that support, it's like pretty nice. Also, if you can't aim, Gun Tank's very nice because they basically have a really weak main attack that anybody who's within like a third of your screen, it just auto targets them. Kind of like Soldier's Ultimate in Overwatch.
Oh, that's pretty good, Matt.
And you can just choose to use the gun normally if you want as a single target or like wherever you're aiming sort of thing.
Oh man, that's pretty much a support character I would really want to try, Matt.
And just speaking about more about like Gundam Evolution, I've only seen 2 types of game type, which is basically just an assault type gameplay and a capture point type gameplay. And I kind of wish that I don't know if just maybe I never randomly rolled into it, but I really wish that there was a payload type gameplay. But their assault gameplay is very interesting and I think unique to Gundam Evolution because their assault type gameplay is a lot more like, it reminds me of Rainmaker from Splatoon because their assault gameplay is basically there's 2 places the defenders have to defend, and you're trying to plant a bomb there, and the attackers won't know like which one you're going for until you're like your whole team's like actually there, right? So I kind of like that as a attack defense type play style. Oh,
so it's just like standard search and destroy. Is it just search and destroy from like CS:GO or something?
Oh yeah, I guess it is actually. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good like. I think that is one of my favorite types of imbalance, kind of like attack defend type situation, because I really don't like attack and defend type scenarios where they're only defending one place and you're only attacking one place, because I think that's like very dry and it doesn't like I think it just like closes the gameplay a bit too much.
Yeah. And then when you have multiple bomb sites or at least attack points, that really does change your strategy of I really do like search and destroy type gameplay the most in terms of, I think, team scenarios. Sure, it sucks when I'm the last one on my team alive and I'm sweating buckets, but at the same time, I do prefer the more tactical kind of element when it does come to S&D compared to, say, like a team deathmatch, just because with team deathmatch, it's so easy to kind of bum rush and go into the fray. And don't get me wrong, I love doing that, but sometimes I need to have my butt clenched, Matt, and just sweating profusely because I don't know where they're attacking. So yeah, that really does sound pretty cool. But before we move on, Matt, how's the gunplay? How does this actually feel? Does it shoot well?
The shooting is very good. I think that I think arguably I like the shooting style more in Gundam Evolution, just because it like feels good. Most of the characters are either just like straight up just like shooting kind of like hit scan type things, which I think might not be for everyone, but I kind of prefer that over, I guess, projectiles like going through the air. And I also actually really like the way that they did the ultimates in this game, because they aren't too strong. Like,
Okay.
I feel like most games, when you have an ultimate ability, the gameplay kind of slows down to a point where, okay, we all have our ultimates, let's push.
Right.
Whereas, like, I think in Gundam Evolution, the ultimates are a lot less game breaking or game like impacting, where instead of going for like, I don't know, a whole team wipe with your ultimate, you're really looking for a one or two picks type thing.
That's actually pretty
to get with your
right.
ultimate.
Okay.
Oh, and that reminds me of actually one thing I really, really hate about Gundam Evolution. Jaren, when people disconnect, it doesn't fill them back in.
Oh no.
So once someone disconnects, your team is like done. Like they're not gonna get that filled by any more randos,
Matt,
which is kind of annoying. Mm-hmm.
as someone who kind of went ham in Splatoon 3 this weekend, the amount of disconnects during the game I came across, Matt, come on. They're just 3-minute rounds, guys. Just stick with it. Just stick with it, please. Yeah. But Matt, there was one game where we pulled through and somehow won on a 3 against 4. And Matt,
nice.
I felt so good after that game. But yeah, Matt. Okay, Gundam Evolution does sound pretty cool. How's the community so far? I know.
Oh, Jared, the community is so dumb. Jared, I love this community. Everybody who I was at least playing with, these people are dweebs. I love them so much. Because, like, I think in every game that I played, there was someone, like, role-playing as a Gundam pilot. And it was so good. Oh, man. Just, like, people getting into it is just so good. And I really, really like that. Instead of, people being toxic, it's even like, yeah, okay, team, yo, what's up, new types? Yo, let's kill these space noids. Like, yeah, go Earth. Like, oh, man. Jared, I love the people who play this game.
Matt, I think you just sold me on Gundam Evolution.
They're so good. They're good, Jared.
Okay,
it's good.
Matt.
It's a good community. All
right. It seems like you're enjoying your time here. And I'm guessing, community is still active. You're getting into games. And the gunplay sounds good, Matt. Seems like you're having a good time with Gundam Evolution. I think when you were talking through Gundam Evolution, there was this hint of, we all know what you're trying to compare it to.
Yeah.
There was a big release this week. And I don't know, Matt. As I said before, I went back and listened to our last maybe traditional episode of Saturday Morning Arcade back in, I believe, 2016, where we were so high on Overwatch. And this week saw the release of Overwatch 2. And Matt, I know last week we were, just planning out the Mistake Zone episodes for the month of October. And we thought, okay, Overwatch 2 is this week. We'll jump in, we'll play some games, and just talk about our experiences. Matt, my experience with Overwatch this week was logging in before the servers went down and Overwatch 1 ultimately died. I spent all my legacy gold coins to buy some limited event costumes that I wanted, and which will probably be more difficult to come across. Bought swimsuit Widowmaker because of course I would. Got Fox Spirit Diva, got a Moira costume, just got some costumes for even some of the newer heroes that I didn't have any costumes for. Logged out, said goodbye, opened all of the gold crates that I had from Twitch, said goodbye to Overwatch 1, installed the Overwatch 2 update, and the 3 times I tried to play Overwatch 2 this week, I was hit by you have 20k people ahead of you in queue. And I got into the game once and then I got immediately disconnected.
Rip.
I know Blizzard has been dealing with DDoS attacks and just general server issues. Again, Overwatch 2 came out. It is now free to play. Rest in peace, Overwatch 1. And unfortunately, Matt, I don't have any Overwatch 2 experience to share this week, but were you able to essentially become a hero, Matt?
Yes, Jaren, I was able to become a hero this week, but
Okay.
about half the times that I was able to become a hero, I couldn't be all the heroes, Jaren.
Really?
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but even if you do log in and get into a game, there's a chance that you won't have your hero roster.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Really?
There is, I think, like it's a part of the DDoS attacks that Blizzard's like getting into. It's also messing with their authentication servers. So
Right.
if you log into a game or if you get into a game, you might not be authenticated with your account. So you'll have a free to play account. So you won't have all the heroes available to you. And man, Jaren, I didn't realize how much of the heroes I play would be locked behind a paywall.
Well, it's been some time since I played Overwatch 1. It's been even longer since we last talked about it on one of our podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt, in terms of your experience with Overwatch 2 and actually getting hands-on with it, what did you think? How does it compare to our golden days of Overwatch 1? And honestly, this will probably lead to the biggest question. Do you think it's worth Overwatch 1 dying so we can have free to play Overwatch 2 right now?
I think Overwatch 1 dying was fine, but Jaren, the constraints that you're put on as a free to play account, I think are kind of rough. Like I said earlier, I was surprised at like who in the roster was locked when you're a free to play account.
Right.
For example, when you're playing support, you only have Lucio, Mercy, and Moira.
Okay.
Which I think are like, they're like fine healers, but I don't know. I really like playing Zenyatta. I think it's like he's one of my favorite supports to play. I think not having Kiriko or Baptiste as a free to play support, I think is like very, very rough, because then you don't have access to a hero or a support who has any kind of temporary invincibility, because you lose like your you lose the immortality field and you lose the charm that Kiriko throws out, which I think is like a real shame. I think it's crazy that Diva is locked if you're a free to play player, because I feel like Diva is one of the I feel like it's fair to say that Diva is one of the faces of the Overwatch franchise.
Honestly, like besides Tracer, I would totally agree. When I saw that, I believe she, even though, correct me if I'm wrong, but you unlock characters as a free-to-play player in a certain order, correct? Where I think Diva is one of the earlier unlocks. But yeah, when I saw that Diva was kind of locked behind the unlock tree or whatever it is, I was actually really amazed by that. Mostly because, yeah, I feel maybe I'm biased just because I was a Diva main back in my heyday of Overwatch 1. But in terms of actual like merch and just how much, I guess, has an impact on gaming culture and some of the more seedier places on the internet as well. I really do think Diva is pretty, aside from Tracer, the poster girl for Overwatch in general. So yeah, it was kind of surprising just to see her locked behind that for free-to-play players as well. But yeah, Matt, I think a lot of what I've been hearing about Overwatch 2 is just the notion that there isn't so much for it to be a standalone, or to really justify it being a standalone title, especially with Overwatch 1 kind of going on the wayside. I think this was a conversation that I've had previous in this week as well, just because with Overwatch 2 replacing Overwatch 1, essentially, it is more Overwatch. Sure, the core mechanics of the team play, where Overwatch 1 was 6v6, Overwatch 2 is 5v5, that really does have a really big effect on how games are played and team composition as well. But I remember discussing the notion that why does say Splatoon 3 get a pass if Splatoon 3 is just more Splatoon, and Overwatch 2, is kind of getting harped on for just being more Overwatch. And I think, again, as someone who hasn't had any experience with Overwatch 2, is an outsider looking in from the queue that I'm currently standing in, it is that I feel with the announcement of Overwatch 2, you were expecting some sort of defining, other mode in terms of the PvE, in terms of the single player content to really help justify it as a new package. Mm-hmm. But even though this is technically launching as early access multiplayer, I forget what verbiage or terms that they're using, even though they are selling battle passes, they are selling premium currency. I think that for it to completely replace a already established package with its own set of unlocks, and then to port everything over to essentially a new platform without the accompanying modes, I can see where people are feeling a bit cheated. While in turn with Splatoon, you do still have its single player component. You have changes to Salmon Run, and come on, Matt, we have Table Turf Wars or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm, so I think that's where, as an outsider looking in, I can kind of see Splatoon 3 being some sort of overall package in comparison to just Overwatch 2's arguably a reskin of Overwatch 1. But I was wondering if you had any thoughts regarding that, Matt.
I think that one of the best, reasonings that I saw online was that calling it Overwatch 2 was a very big mistake.
Right.
In terms of, what it's trying to do. It really should have been more of an Overwatch 2.0, which I feel like it's basically the same, but has a very different connotation.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people would have been less angry if that was the change that happened. Because Overwatch 2, when I was playing it, I was yeah, this is Overwatch. When it was working, I was like, okay, nice. I'm getting to play my Junkrat, play my Diva, play my Sombra, play my Zenyatta. I like these heroes. I like the gameplay. It's good, dumb fun. I don't know if I was just heavily influenced by Splatoon lately, but man, the time to kill in Overwatch is long.
Right.
And I was like, damn, this is this is rough, because it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot harder when you're only relying on one tank to do the tanking. I feel like that's just kind of weird, but I feel like that's just something you're gonna get used to. But yeah, I kind of
I was gonna ask Matt. We're no professionals by any means, but as someone who has had some time with Overwatch 1, and after getting your hands on Overwatch 2, what do you think of the 5v5 change, and how does the kind of one tank really affect how you approach this game?
I think that the biggest change that I noticed with regards to one tank is how much stronger flanking is.
Right.
Because you only your tank can only look in one direction. If you're playing a shield tank, they can only shield from one direction. So flanking was already strong to begin with, but I feel like it's gotten way, way stronger, and the reliance on the tank to do their job is it's very important. And it kind of weirded me out on, I guess, how much you have to juggle what tank you're gonna use in certain situations.
Right.
Because I feel like in push it's weird to use any of the shield tanks, just because of the objective that you're trying to get forward. But I don't know, maybe it's just my inexperience with the push maps, but I don't know. I felt like it was very rough to play Reinhardt, or what's the name of the floaty dude? The dude with the the shield, or even actually I used to really like playing Orisa, but I can't get a hang of shieldless Orisa, which is kind of weird to me as well.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It's I guess it's just a getting used to it kind of thing, and I don't know how to deal with flankers that are coming from other sides as without the off tank there to kind of help mitigate that stuff.
Matt, again, as someone whose Overwatch ignorance is showing, is Diva still a tank?
Yeah, Diva's still a tank. They made her more beefy. Her defense matrix lasts longer. Overall, she's yeah, she's still like a pretty good tank. I think like she's probably one of the like funner ones to play, but I don't know like if if she's like more viable.
Because you know me, Matt, I played Diva a certain way back when around launch and around when, you know, ranked was first becoming a thing in Overwatch, and I played her kind of in that bruiser kind of harasser role where I didn't want to take all the kind of, you know, I didn't want all the pressure of being an actual tank, and I just kind of wanted to disrupt everyone with her. And that when that playstyle of Diva was taken away, I think that's when I ultimately dropped Overwatch. So I think with me, I was really excited to jump into Overwatch 2 just because, again, with the 5v5 change and the fact that I think last time I played was when Blizzard Land was just made a level and Moira was the latest hero. So for the most part, it could be a whole different game, and it technically is. And that's why I was really excited to jump into the game. But again, all the server stuff really made that a hassle. But Matt, is it anything else that really stuck with you during your time with Overwatch 2 or from what little you were able to play?
I mean, Overwatch is still Overwatch. I still think it's like a fun game, especially when you can play with other people that you can, you know, voice comm with like properly. I think like that just super enhances the experience, especially since Jaren, I haven't played like Overwatch in a long time before this, and this community is bad, Jaren. Like I know it's not as bad as like, I don't know, something like League or Dota or Valo, but man, this is still a rough community. Like the amount of times that a losing game like happened for like me and my team, and the amount of like, I guess, salt that was being thrown around. Like even when I was on a winning team, the amount of like salt that was being thrown around by like, oh hey, like good job to like whoever for playing their role because the other one wasn't like doing it properly. I was like, oh, this is like we won. Why are you still mad?
Matt, as a sensitive little crybaby boy, I think I hate to always compare it to Splatoon 3 right now, but Matt, the fact that there is no real open comms in Splatoon kind of makes me happy because, Matt, let's just say sometimes I don't have the best games, and then sometimes we have a sniper on our team that gets 0 kills, that only has 100p of coverage and died like 10 times, yet they didn't use their Tentamissiles at all, maybe because they haven't been inking anything. And let's just say if we had open comms, I might have felt some ways, but
oh man,
I think Splatoon is the casual community that I really need. But yeah, I think I hate to say it, but with Overwatch, that community does come with the territory, because even then, back when in my heyday with the game, it was pretty open comms was pretty rough. And I can only imagine, since the game has been out for so long, plus the influx of new players coming because it is free to play, makes for, you know, a situation where maybe I'm turning off open comms and in-game chat and not accepting any friend requests.
Yeah, man, you just gotta get into that Gundam Evolution community. Good community. I
too want to role play with my fellow pilots, Matt. But yeah, after your first week with Overwatch 2, Matt, is this something that you're adding to your kind of regular rotation?
Honestly, I don't know how regular it's going to be. I think I'll play like a game here or there just because, I don't know, it's like new for now. But I don't see myself sticking with it for longer than 2 weeks, I think. Just because, Jared, I like Gundam Evolution.
Oh, man, Matt. And
Jared. Just one thing about Gundam Evolution. Okay, one thing about Overwatch. Jared, one of my favorite things in Overwatch is the highlight reel right at the end, right?
Yes.
And one of my favorite highlights is the Sombra highlight. The one where it'll show somebody else, and then there's a Sombra hack, and then it's Sombra's play of the game.
That's so good. That's such a good one.
Jared, that is just like built in Gundam Evolution. Because one of the things I really like about the highlights is that it'll, in that same kind of vein of like somebody taking over the highlight, it'll show somebody who could have potentially gotten the highlight, and then their Gundam just gets killed, and then it's replaced by the dude who has the real highlight, which I think is always such a good goof when you're the one that's not getting killed.
That's so good. toxic, but still good. Matt, before we end off this week, I have to ask, Matt, I think in terms of Seiyu, we have our favorites, but Matt, one of our mutual favorites is the Queen, Sally Amaki. And Matt, part of me, while happy, was a bit bummed just because I feel like Sally Amaki voicing Kuriko here in Overwatch 2 kind of really pushes her into this realm of to be recognized. For her to be a character in such a beloved franchise is really big. So Matt, I have to ask, as Sally Boys, how's Kuriko in Overwatch 2?
Jared, I think Kuriko is good, but Jared, I'm trash at Kuriko.
So what's her? So she's support. How does she compare? I guess how does she fit into Overwatch overall?
I think as a support, she's a very weak healer, or not that. Okay, not that she's a weak character. I mean that her heals themselves are actually weak. So you're instead of healing somebody when they're low, you're kind of going to be healing somebody when they're like mid. I think a lot of the skill from her playstyle is going to come from her invincibility charm thing. Like I think being able to hit that, like, because I can't land that thing at all, like at a critical moment. But in the games that I played where she was supporting me, or someone was playing her and she was supporting me, Jaren, that thing is clutch. Like it comes out so fast. Like that moment of invincibility is crazy, and being able to make those kind of clutch plays is exactly the character that I don't want to play because that's too much pressure.
For sure.
And I can't, Jaren. I feel like my game sense isn't that great in Overwatch 2, and also my aim isn't. I tried to save somebody, Jaren. I threw that thing just like off the edge of the map, and I felt so bad.
Oh man, that sounds like a really cool playstyle for her, though.
Yeah, I think she's a very interesting playstyle. But it doesn't jive with the way that I play play Overwatch. I think if somebody likes Ana, they'll probably like Kiriko.
Right, for sure.
Because she actually puts out like very good damage. I think her main attack doesn't have any fall off, so if you have good aim, you're gonna like destroy people.
Okay. Now I don't have good aim.
Yeah, same. Like I
guess Kiriko isn't for me.
I need a spammy character.
Now that we got that out of the way, how's Sally Amaki in Overwatch 2?
I like Sally. Sally's cool. Man, I really, really hope that nobody gets like mad at Sally for anything. Like, because I've seen instances where voice actors get shit on for playing or like voicing a broken character, and I hope that doesn't happen to Sally.
Matt, Sally is the best. I love Sally Amaki.
I love Sally. Yeah.
Okay, Matt. So, Matt, beefy episode this week. Not only did we talk about rhythm games and choosing teams and anime Need for Speed, but we also talked about some Gundams and rejoining the ranks of heroes in Overwatch 2. And Matt, I must say, pretty good episode for episode we were unsure what we were actually going to talk about this week. So, as always, I want to thank you for joining me this week to talk about our many mistakes.
Yeah.
I want to thank all our friends out there for joining us once again to, you guessed it, listen to all our mistakes. I also want to thank Sally Amaki for being amazing and having a really good Twitter. And yeah, Matt, I'm honestly, now that this episode has passed, I kind of don't want to go and play Overwatch 2. Well, now that I've heard so many firsthand recollections of it, I might log in to claim my Founders Pack and probably look at all the different, play of the game introductions and then say, yep, this is good. Matt, I think I'm going to treat it like I treat Hearthstone now, where, Matt, I don't know if you know this, but I feel if you don't log into Hearthstone every 120 days or 3 months, they just give you one of their free starter decks for you to keep. So Matt, every 3 months I'm logging in. I've gotten 2 starter decks already, so we'll see how this goes in 3 more months. But yeah, Matt, this has been another episode of the Mistake Zone, and again, we're coming back to you next week. Matt, what are we talking about next week? I already forgot.
I have no idea. Hang on, let me check real quick. Jared, I don't think we have an episode planned for next week. the 2 weeks after that, we have episodes. But next week, I don't think we do.
Well then, Matt, we find ourselves in a predicament. So that means our friends online need to tune in next week to see what we end up talking about. But Matt, I've had fun this week.
Same.
And you know what that means. Please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of Overwatch 1 loot boxes.